When I joined Leading Hotels of the World in 2008, one of my first tasks to master was to properly pronounce Omurgonulsen. I held a round of meetings with all the key executives to get to know the company and people. Deniz, who was a director at the time, came in with a binder of all the hotel members and a summary of our quality and performance issues. I instantly thought, this is going to be the beginning of a wonderful relationship. The business model of Leading Hotels is fairly straightforward. Manage the membership portfolio and drive revenue to our hotels. But it was broken like a luxury hotel with a beautiful facade, but in need of a major renovation on the inside. Just a point of reference, Deniz was already at Leading Hotels when I joined, and she was recruited from Four Seasons by another hotelier. So to John, Ed, and Chrissy, I did not poach Deniz, but I would have. And thank you all for the wonderful training. Deniz was promoted to Vice President of Membership and went to work to turn this around. Within 5 years, she restored the quality of the portfolio, taking the average quality score from 78 to 85%. In the process, about half the members had to be terminated. And the other half quickly got the message and very excited to improve their quality as they saw where the company was going. Later on, new members joined with high quality as they saw a renewed company commitment to the quality of the portfolio. On the revenue side, she worked with her sales and marketing colleagues to bring what we call RevX, revenue multiple, revenue as a multiple of fees, from less than 9 times to 20 times in 10 years. So to give you a sense, 1 multiple is 1 year of fees. So basically you have double revenue for the same fees, and you get some very happy members. But she didn't stop there. Deniz went beyond helping members, member hotels navigate and recover from COVID. She led the transformation of the membership organization into a true partner for success, shifting from the traditional membership management to a customer success model, where the hotel performance and satisfaction define the company's own. In the world of be, do, have, she is the possibility of caring. She listens for what can I do to help, and she communicates with each hotel member individually. She picks up the phone, just like Giuseppe, and calls you on the phone and talks to you one-on-one. I've had many hotel members share with me that when they speak to Deniz about a problem they're having, and she can't resolve it right away, she would tell them, let me talk to Ted. And this 5 little words is of great comfort to them, because it says, I hurt you, and I think I can advocate for you. Her success was built on the relationships that she built one at a time in the 20-plus years she spent with the company. Here's an astonishing fact of this nearly 500 hotel member company that's almost 100 years old. She personally signed 75% of the members today. That tells you how much her impact defined the company. I know she will be missed at leading. Yes, she still finds time and energy to contribute to her beloved Cornell Hotel School and Cornell Hotel Society. She served the New York City chapter, planning many events. She served as CHS Global President and hosted the EMEA Regional Conference in Istanbul. It's still a conference that many still talk about. She gets more things done than anyone I know. Work friends are great. They're a lot better than work enemies. But I don't have any expectations that work friends will turn into life friends. But when they do, it is wonderful. I am privileged to call her a life friend. Here's an extraordinary colleague, an extraordinary friend, and an extraordinary hotelier, Deniz Omurgonulsen, class of 2000. So it's just the two of us.
He's still up. All right, well, thank you. So Dean Walsh was asking, how did all these people get here? Well, let me tell you, my story began right here in New York. Actually, my story began in New York City when my parents were attending at the time what was called, hi, Isla, my daughter's there, the hotel and restaurant show at the time. And they were walking up and down the aisles of the Javits Center, and they met this lovely lady called Sherry Farrell. And Sherry said to my mom and dad, your daughters will do just fine. Because who would have thought, all the way from Turkey, these people would have the courage to send their daughters to Ithaca. So the conversation changed everything. My sister Melissa and I came to Ithaca, and all the way from Izmir. And of course, I walk into the Statler, and who's the first person I meet on campus? Anybody want to guess? The first professor, first faculty? Giuseppe. So Giuseppe says, oh, another Turk. Hey, pal. I said, hi, pal. I said, I need a job. My dad had sent me with $10,000 and said, you have to get a scholarship to keep your studies, and you have to make your living. So thanks to Bill Eaton and CHS, I was able to get my scholarship, but then I needed a job to actually make my living. So Giuseppe takes me into the second floor Alumni Affairs office, where I meet Phil Miller. Phil was running the head of, he was the head of Alumni Affairs at the time. He was running Alumni Affairs, and said, what time do classes start? I said, 8:40. He says, great, be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that was my first job. And I think all of you, a lot of you around this room, joke around and say, well, she knows who I am and what I do. I said, well, because it's my first job as head of returned mail, my job was to literally, personally update everybody's name and address on the hotel school database. So I know where you live. And Phil gave me one of the best gifts. He introduced me to my Ithaca mom, Yasmin, who made sure that I had home-cooked meals and I stayed out of trouble. So thank you. And I know he's up there watching us. May he rest in peace. Thank you. So at Hotel Ezra Cornell, this incredible organization, first I served as HR director for Simmer with Style, and then the year after for HEC 75, I was managing director for Once in a Lifetime. I learned how to bring vision to life with my team, who are all here today. I just saw them. And we still looked awake for lunch the next morning. And one of the many jobs during HEC, CHS, I was actually working at Banfi's. And very similar to Chrissy, my job was actually in the morning serving breakfast. And this gentleman walked by, he was a guest return, and I happened to remember that his preference for breakfast was section grapefruit. And I said, would you like the section grapefruit? And he said, well, how do you remember? I said, well, you were here a few weeks ago. And unbeknownst to my 15-year-old self, that was John Sharp, who was the president and CEO at Four Seasons at the time. So Mr. Sharp said, what are you doing this summer? And I said, I don't know, I need an internship. He says, how would you like to go to Chicago? So that was my first introduction to Four Seasons at the Ritz-Carlton Chicago, a Four Seasons hotel. And that little detail, that tiny act of just noticing and remembering, and opened the first big door for me in luxury hospitality. And obviously, the golden rule that I still live by today, it is to treat others the way you want to be treated. So simple, yet so powerful. Years later, yes, he did not poach me, but another hotel he did. Ted, when he joined Leading Hotels of the World, invited me to help reimagine the company. Together, as you've heard the story, we rebuilt a community over 400 hotels in 80 countries, another once-in-a-lifetime journey. And I'd like to acknowledge my team who are here today. I couldn't have done this possibly without you, so thank you. In 2017, life paused. With a 1-year-old in my arms, she's sitting right there, she's now 9, I had a stroke, a blood clot in my brain. It stopped me mid-sentence, mid-speed, mid-everything. Recovery was humbling, learning to walk again, talk again. It taught me to slow down and listen inward, and protect what matters the most, my health, my family, and my presence. And I didn't know at the time, but when I was a student, Giuseppe used to tell me, even a Ferrari slows down when there's a sign that says school, and there's children at play. So my husband Noyan and I, and our daughters Layla and Isla, remind me every day that success means nothing if you're not present for it. And for that, actually Layla exists today, thanks to Ted. We were in our biggest event of the year, and I had to start IVF procedures, and I was conflicted. Do I leave this big event? I have responsibilities, but obviously I want to start a family. And he said, there's no option, you're leaving now. So a proof that life truly begins if you have the balance. But through it all, you have been my constant, opening doors, giving feedback, celebrating milestones. We are a family that doesn't just share a school, we share a spirit, Hotelli for life. And if I was starting today, I would double down on that. What Hotellis do the best, build authentic human connections. But above all, I would remind myself, who you are matters the most. Because as Ted said, doing flows from being and having flows from there. So it's really all about just being. To my parents, thank you for believing before I even saw the road. To my mentors, all of you, thank you for believing before I even saw the courage you gave me. For my fellow Hotellis, you're my compass, my community, my tribe. And the next generation, lead with purpose. Welcome detours, and remember, your story is being written one decision at a time. And it can be a beautiful story. Thank you.